Good morning. It's 16 February, and we got a hell of a BCC meeting tonight in Walton County. It's be all local news on this Alan Osborne show. If you need some humor, just tune in. So, look, today's show is going to talk about what happened last night at the code enforcement meeting. Let me tell you something. If you want to see something, if you want to see bad government in action, if you want to see people misusing their authority, if you want to see the railroading of an average citizen while real huge violations in our community get ignored, go to YouTube and watch the code meeting and start at case number 8. If you want to, start in the first cases and watch them levy $40,000, $25,000 fines on people who weren't even there. People of deceased people whose estates were in arrears. We're not even sure if they contacted the right people. There was a case last night where Walton County had issued a certificate of occupancy on a house built on the wrong lot. So the well and septic were on some guy's lot and the house was on another. But they still wanted to move forward with finding the people they had notified. No, folks, you can't make this shit up. Now, it's an old dilapidated house and it happened a long time ago. But Walton County was mad that the people didn't know that Walton County let somebody build a house on the wrong lot. Think about that. You can't make this shit up on the Alan Osborne show. So we get into the Kate Holland case and Horsepower Pavilion. Remember, all this is talking about code. Walton County code officers. And that's what it says, code compliance. But there ain't no code compliance. It's code clowns run by Tony Cornball. And last night, Michael Lynch, the asshole that he is, Michael Lynch, I think you're a piece of shit. And anybody that watches you last night watches a guy carrying a badge. So somebody took his milk money when he's a kid. So he's got to show everybody he's got a gun and a badge. The worst kind of officer is Michael Lynch because he's up there lying. That's right. And I'll show you some other lies and I'll show you how we're going to deal with Mr. Lynch. But he's part of the cornball team. There's Mr. Corman. And in the upper right-hand corner, the big, fat, gross guy with a belly bigger than his man boobies, right up there, that's Scott Brandon, part of Tony's administrative team. What Scott does, none of us know, because he's a legislative liaison. His job and a couple of other jobs were just created so they could keep these people. Scott runs around and cuts deals. That's what Scott's job is. Anyway, but they all work under Cornball. And the reason he's an interim is because they can't afford to let the truth get uncovered. And Tony's in the ex-cop club. Remember that club? That's this club. That's Danny, Boots, and Mike, the ex-cop club. And it used to include Stan. Who else is in the ex-cop club? So this is just how this works. But last night was a first-class railroading. And Mike Lynch up there presenting, he's just a code officer. He starts to tell the code board what Water Management District thinks. Water Management District wasn't at the meeting. And look carefully, they notify, Michael Lynch sends a notification to Kate Holland and the Horsepower Pavilion that says, they're going to talk about two things at this meeting. And he shows up with an ambush, and he's even brought somebody that Kate fired off her job because she wasn't doing things right. Michael is shaking. He thinks it's funny. He's argumentative like he's some kind of lawyer. He's not an engineer. He ain't a lawyer. I don't think he has a single qualification that mattered last night. He's a layman just like us citizens, but he's wasting our funds. And he's harassing people. Watch him laugh. He's sitting there talking to an attorney like, and this thing is just out of hand. Then he wants $200,000 in fines when we all know. And Tony's sitting at the back of the room. Matt Carpenter's sitting at the back of the room. There's no county engineer there to get up and testify. And they're trying to claim that the runoff, and it should be brought into standards, whatever that is, but we know it's in court, is endangering the community in Hammock Bay. Over by Hammock Bay at Horsepower Pavilion, that area. Go to Horsepower Pavilion. None of that water's making it to the bay. It's not making it anywhere. It's flat as heck. Just needs a water plant. but they wanted to pitch it. Go watch that crap. The code was pitching it, and the county was pitching it like it endangered the community. You know what endangers the community? You know what endangers that? This 2,000 acres of runoff. So after listening to that awful dissertation and that useless individual, Mike Lynch, he's just an ex-cop from somewhere up north. And he's come down here to show us that he's going to get his milk money back that people took from him from school. And the rest of you code officers, you want to act like that in public, I'll put you on my show, because you're an employee of us, real taxpayers, people like me that came to that meeting last night that know what you're doing isn't really code enforcement, it's selective enforcement. It might be cool if you did that to everybody, but you don't. You see this big development behind me? So I filed a code enforcement action on Walton County and the developer, SDI, Sandestin, who's building high rises. They're completely out of compliance. They're in a new phase. Their water's out of compliance. Their traffic's out of compliance. They need a notice of proposed change here. Sorry, we had a technical glitch there. It froze. Anyway, so I filed a complaint because Walton County is direct piping water from their own right of ways into the bay. And Michael Lynch was involved in that. He was involved in dismissing the complaints, even though we have certified engineers report. We have opinions from the state. Florida Board of Professional Engineers said that Walton County is violating their orders themselves and their own ordinances. Walton County is, but the code ain't gonna do nothing to them. And you don't see no big developers in there, do you, in these code hearings? It's all people and deceased people and this kind of stuff. But what about just code enforcement for everybody? Enforcement. It says code compliance. They're not going to enforce anything. They're just going to fine the hell out of you till you comply. But why haven't they fined Sandestin? And why won't they find their own engineering section? So I'm going to post on how to file a complaint. Like I said, I'm going to teach y'all how to file this complaint that I filed. And let's see how the code enforcement process works on the Alan Osborne show, because I don't think it's fair, and we're about to prove it. Technical difficulty is going to end this show earlier, but you can't make this shit up on the Alan Osborne show. Tune in next time when I show you how to file a code complaint and what documents you need to prove that the county code is doing selective enforcement. Because you got to keep them straight out there, because they can't keep themselves straight on the Alan Osborne show.